Ours was from a poem Darren wrote that was called "Victims of a Down." But I didn't like victims. I didn't want to be a victim. I was like, if we ever get big, people are gonna yell victim instead of, I was like, that's, I don't want to be yelled, because it's a long name. And at the time there was bands like Korn and Deftones, and it was like not long. The only name I knew long was like Rage Against the Machine, which was kind of cool. Right. So when he came back, he's like, okay, I get it. And then we're like, system is fully encompassing the victims. Like the victims are a part of the system. So system is bigger. And if someone yells system, it's kind of cool because there's no like weak way of saying the word system. It's like stressed S-Y-S, you can't be like sis, you're gonna yell it with, so that was a big thing.
More
that
was
so yeah, so it made sense after a while, but then we had to explain to everyone and their mother the way, because like the first marquee we were, it was at the Roxy, and I couldn't wait, like we showed up there early for sound check and noon, waiting for the doors to open. I look up at the marquee, couldn't wait, take pictures, my camera's ready, my disposable, and it said System of the Dawn.
Oh man.
I was like, oh shit. Get here.
You guys climb up and change that?
Yeah, bro, we have pictures of getting a boost at the Roxy and changing shit around to
that's funny.
That's awesome.
The T went out, so no O until the people arrived to put the O up there. But yeah, bro. And then the second show we were Sistema of Down. That was fucking hilarious. That was at the
closer.
So we've been through so many different ones trying to explain our.
That's the Spanish version of the name.
Yeah, Sistema.
Yeah, sure. It was like the guys, Sistema, So
that's so funny.
I've said the story before, but I'll say it real quick. So I've wanted a guitar ever since I discovered Kiss, that you're wearing your shirt. It was like 5 years old, yeah, and I wanted to play something, and I've always asked my parents, please, I'd bang on pots and pans. I'd set up pots and pans in like a corner of the living room, and I'd be banging around listening to music. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't buy me anything musical. I think it was like the old immigrant fear of the starving musician, right?
Exactly.
So, starving artist. So they were like, nah, you're gonna follow that. We know your personality, because it was like I'm gung ho, I'm like Harry. I'm like, like I like something, I'm gonna go full blast, and if I start collecting something, forget it. I'm gonna own everything of that,
Yeah.
So I was like that. I went full force, and then at like 12, I think it was, my grandma, my dad's mom, God rest her soul, she snuck a guitar to me. She went and
nice.
I told her what, and we went to with my uncle, my dad's brother. We went to Guitar Center, I think, somewhere. Yeah, and I got a Kramer XL too, and we got it home, and my parents didn't know, and then they found out, and I'm playing the guitar with a little amplifier, and I just kind of taught myself, bro. I just kind of went, and then so I started forming bands at like 16, 17, and I just couldn't find a bass player that played meat and potatoes. It was either a person just picked up the instrument and was figuring out how to play a scale, or try to figure out how to keep a tempo going, rhythm going, or it was someone already like they have this like guitar ego thing where it's like they have to compete with the guitarist, so they were just trying to be virtuoso, like a Les Claypool, but Les Claypool is Les Claypool. Don't try to be Les Claypool, right?
Right.
So I always thought the bass and the drums should be like together, like Zeppelin, like a Sabbath, like something where I come from that world. And then I think the meat and potatoes are the bass and the drums, and I think vocals and guitar would be like the salt and pepper to the meal, and no one's out that way. So I was like, fuck, let me get a bass and see what I do. I'm gonna do the bass, and so I traded in my Randall half stack for an Ibanez sound gear, and I just started from there. And I bought a PV bass amp from Recycler back then. It was like it was like like the Craigslist of back then,
magazine.
Physical magazine, and that's when it all started, bro. And I was in two bands. I was just, I'm always like bouncing around, and I was in the studio he's talking about, that they were in one of the complexes. It was right here in Burbank. It's now a piano store, but it was called Nightingale Studios, and I was rehearsing with my band Roswell, and I had another friend's group rehearsing there, Dave, and then I had another, and then them, Harry and stuff, were rehearsing downstairs, and then Darren walked in to try out for my other friend's band, and I was there afterwards. They asked me, what do you think? I was like, dude, that's the guy, get him. So they got him. They didn't work out. He formed a band with Serge, Darren, Soil. I managed. Second long story, but that's kind of like it all happened at that studio, and then when their band was, I guess, I was managing Soil after like a couple of months of me doing that. They only had like 5-6 songs. The bass player left, and they asked me to be the bass player, and I was tripping. Like, I just started playing like a year or two ago, bro. Like bass. And they're like, nah, it's all about the vibe and your mentality and how you do it. You know, you got it. You're a groover. You can do anything we need to be done, and just grow from there. So the rest is history.
Yeah, it's amazing how things just happen. Like the universe, if you're open to it, it kind of gives you those.
I kind of conformed, but it wasn't conforming because I had to. It was like I just like you said, I opened myself to like something new that might, and it became the thing, you know. And I still play guitar. Like my new group, North Kingsley, I'm all over the guitar on that because it's like I still have that guitar player mind. I wrote the riffs on Toxicity on the guitar, not the bass.
Oh, okay.
And I brought it in, and then we arranged it to be what it is, but it was all written on the guitar. Include like Sugar was written on the guitar. You know, there's a bass line. The bass line became the main part. But you know what I'm saying? So my mind still plays as a guitar player, but I also, or I write like a guitar player, but I play like a bass player. So you know.
Rick Rubin saw you. Was it the Viper? And then he came out and he said, "You guys are the next thing." And
no, it was like we were playing for a while, right? And we were selling everywhere out, show. And I was booking it. I was managing, so I was doing 2 shows a month, 1.5, like, you know, 1 show every 3 weeks. So it was like kind of becoming like that, just hitting all the clubs possible, from the anti-clubs to the True to the Whiskey to the Roxy to somewhere in North Hollywood or somewhere in the Valley to back. And all these people were coming. Universal was coming, a bunch of Roadrunner, a bunch of people, and all the bands that we were playing with were getting signed fast. Like boom, they're gone. Okay, there's this band just came after us, but they got signed. They can't draw, but they're getting signed. We were that oddball band that no one knew what to do with. So they were all watching us going, dude, they're killing it. They got like every show sold out. The energy is there, but we don't know what to do with them because they don't sound like this band. They don't sound like that band. So how do we market them? I think that's what it was. So I hired a manager in 97. It was Bino. We got Bino, who's still our manager. He also manages North Kingsley now, and he's one of our friends now. It's like it's been 20-some years, right? We brought him in, and one of his friends was Guy Osiri, the owner of Maverick.
Right.
And he was like, this is badass. And he came a few times. Then we had that Viper Room show coming, and he's like, I have someone that should be hearing this. And he walked, and they said they're gonna bring Rick Rubin. And the funniest part is that the most ironic thing is, right, when we were in this little studio on Lancashire, actually like a warehouse studio, and we finished like Darren brought the first song in. It was called Flake. That never made the last day, but we played it. And once we played it complete, and we took a break. We played like 8 times together, and then we took a break. And I went in and whispered in his ear. I go, dude, this shit is crazy. I go, you know who would love this shit? This is in 94, 95. I said, Rick Rubin would dig this shit. I swear to God, I said this to him. He goes, man, don't get ahead of yourself. You know what I mean? Rick Rubin. I'm like, dude, look, man, we have all these new elements and shit. Like, he does that. Like, he did the Public Enemy, the Beastie Boys, the Slayer, right? I'm like, fuck, that could be like, and that was it. Enough said. Now, fast forward to 97, Viper Room, Rick Rubin. So and then it was like, I can remember this like it was yesterday. It's a small stage, small club, so you can see everyone from the curtains are closed, and they're like, you got to stall. I'm like, what stall? We're on stage, ready to go. The crowd's screaming, yelling. It's hot, sweaty, it's humid. Like, I swear there was like water dripping off the walls back then. 4-packed, 2-packed, you know, like a double capacity. Finally, Rick walks in. They go start. So the curtains open, and I see that. You know, Rick, right? The hair, the body, the beard, the silhouette. And he's like, I'm playing. And he's like, and I'm just watching him. No one else exists at that moment. I was like, there's fucking Rick Rubin. I'm remembering what I said, you know? And bro, after the show, and there was also those people from Universal there, and no one had put an offer out yet. They were all coming to every show. All these A&R people, but never putting an offer out. Rick, after the show, we were packing up, and then Bino, our manager, comes in and goes, hey, Rick wants to talk to you guys. I'm like, oh, shit. So we go outside on Sunset, right at there where Sunset, there's the liquor store. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, do what? He's like, I want you guys, like, right there. First time, first view, first listen. It wasn't like, oh, let me marinate on you guys. Let me watch the next 10 of your shows, you know? He was just like, I want this. We're going. And
that's a great story.
Fucking badass, man.
The next day, all those other labels had offers, and because like Rick's gonna take. then it became a bidding war.
Right.
So that's when it became crazy, you know?